What? Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Welcome to the Dawg and Gus show now on Feel It Radio.
What's up, Dog?
Not much, Gus. You?
Oh, not much. We have we had a little bit of a sound check before with two very intriguing guests. Not fun at all. They were just we can't wait to have a chat with Joel and Jason of the Magic Machine. What's up, guys?
What's up?
What's up, friends?
Thanks so much for coming. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having us. And our own
Absolutely.
voices through the amazingness of the internet.
Isn't it amazing at times and also weird at times?
Yeah, it's both of those
That's
things,
what
I'd
makes
say.
it amazing, I think.
So Joel and Dawg and I met Joel at the CMAs, and he was our what would you call him? Our
host with the most.
Yeah, he was our backstage host. It was wonderful. We had a great chat, and he reached out, and we were very excited to hear that the Magic Machine are getting back together for a show coming up on September 2nd. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
I can indeed. So we were to play Irene's, the lovely space on Bank Street, and we had put together a whole repertoire, and we were ready to roll for April 2020. And then something happened. I don't know if you guys remember. There's this thing worldwide. I think we've all forgotten about it by now. It wasn't.
We don't bring it up on this show. We don't bring it up.
It's fair enough. But anyway, we were able to come together. And that's correct.
Even
reconfigure. Yeah, just clarifying.
Yeah, no. It's a new verb I've just made up. You know?
I like it.
And Jay's right. We did reconfigure. We were a bigger band. Now we're a smaller band, more acoustic band. But still, I'd say, and I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, Jay, but I'd say we have the same amount of hugs at practice as we did before.
There's no short supply of love in our band. If it's less people, we just have to, as a collective, just like exude more love so that it matches as it used to be, or even exceed. Right. So,
it's more fun that way. More fun that way. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it brings the vibe that you're looking for. I'm sure.
Absolutely. Making music's more fun with friends, so it's more fun when you're friendly with each other. And we've all known each other for, closing into a decade now, because that's how time works. Time. What is it? What is time? You know?
It's fast.
I know. We're all shaking our heads in our own ways.
It's a man-made construct.
As Joel mentioned earlier, that weird thing that happened in 2020 put a pause button on everybody's day-to-day, and then we unpaused, and it was 2023. I don't know what the heck happened
all of a
there.
sudden. Yeah.
Time is a funny thing.
It is. It is.
It is funny how you say that, because it is definitely. I remember I talk about it. We were on a trip in California in 2019, and I'm like talking about it, and they're like, "Yeah, but that was like 4 years ago." I'm like, "No, man." It's like, "Oh yeah, it was. Yeah." It's like really fucked up that we sort of missed 3 years, you know.
I find that, like, I don't have kids myself, but Jay does. And, like, I found that, again, like, you didn't see people for a couple of years, and all of a sudden you see their kids. And it's like, oh, God, what happened?
Yeah.
For me, it's more like all of a sudden I look at pictures from 2 years ago and there's way less grays in the beard, you know, like that also happened. I try not to think about that.
You look distinguished,
just for men. Just for men. Or embrace it like Dog has.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty jealous of your beard right now, Dog. It is pretty boss, I gotta say.
It's getting there.
Yeah, it's pretty.
My goal is to be able to have a T-shirt on and not anybody know what's on the T-shirt. Yeah,
that's a hefty goal, but we're happy about it.
We're working on it.
We have a great sponsor, Bush Beard. So
Bush Beard.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jay, you're halfway there, but your coloring's all wrong, I'd say.
Yeah,
it's looking good though.
It's getting
I'm more about keeping it in a nice floof, and then I'm happy with that. If it gets too long, it gets spindly, and then I get these little flyaways, and it doesn't work.
So the whole hour we're going to talk about beards and
the entire hour.
And beard care.
Beard
where
care.
to get it. And
So you're playing Irene's. Is there a, like you guys have played together before? Is there a place that you've played before that you really enjoy in Ottawa? Is there one that sort of stands out to you?
Well, like with the band, we played the Rainbow. That's, I'd say, one of my very favorite places, and I'm sure Jay would concur with that. I'm sure, like, Jay's played with a number of other bands, as I have, at that place. I'd also shout out Live on Elgin, wonderful venue. Same. Jay's also played there in other acts. What do you think about that, Jay?
Live on Elgin for me would have to be the most comforting place and most welcoming place as an original artist or original band would want to play. Like the Evan Checks run that place like they care. A little more than other places would care. Not to say that other places don't, but the Live on Elgin folk just absolutely care about original music and art in general. So it's just a warm place to play. I was actually there not too long ago and had another great experience there. Can't say enough praise about it.
Shock. Lots of hugs at Live at Elgin as well. Hugs in the band, hugs at Live at Elgin. That's where
You
we
worked
go.
there though, Joel, did you not? You worked there before you did the you ran the open mic night?
I ran the open mic for, again, we're just talking about time. It was like closing in on years because it did parallel over the thing that we shall not name. But what I liked most about the open mic there was that literally anything goes, and that was the vibe when I started it, and I sort of built upon it. I liked that they had hookups for like literally whatever anyone wanted to do. I heard from like the younger folk. I'm tossing it out there. I'm 40, but like you'd get a lot of younger folk coming on in 19, 20, 21, and they'd say, "Okay, well, I've got some beats and I've got some raps I've made, but like I've only got it on my phone." No worries, we got the hookup for that. Up you go. You get 2 tracks. Oh, I don't have a guitar. That's fine. We got it. Like we got a guitar. Like you go in there or I'd go in there. I'm using myself as the example. I'd go in there as the host, not knowing at all what was going to happen. And in one night I could see, Buddy ripping it on a cello, doing classical. Then someone else might be playing piano ballads in Mandarin, then some crazy hip hop, and then like anything else you can possibly imagine. It was way fun. And it made me way fun.
Well, way fun.
Way fun. And it, it also gave me like lots of cool vibes for the youngins. Cause I mean, for all of us, like growing up, like you listened to whatever was available, right? We had the radio. That was it. The kids today, they got access to literally anything you can possibly imagine. And they dig music. I found when I was hosting, it didn't matter what anyone was doing up there or how old they were. Everyone just welcomed them and said, "Yeah, you're great." And lots of clapping, lots of hugs and laughter, and lots of encouragement of art and supporting local art. It was real great.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You find that the Ottawa scene has really grown in the last couple of years. I mean, obviously we had the thing we don't talk about, but in that time, have you found I just Dawg and I talked about this quite often, but it's like Ottawa scene has really grown, and it's like it's actually right there with all the big cities now. I think it's obviously never going to be Toronto or Montreal, but it's growing. I would say. Would you agree?
I would. I kind of have a hypothesis as to why that is. I think in the last 10 years it's gotten way cooler. And a big part of that is the internet. Again, I think I've lived here my whole life. And before it was the creatives would leave, right? They go to Toronto or Van or Montreal or even south to New York or something. But people now, creatives realize I don't have to leave my home. I don't have to leave my family, my friends. I can be creative right here and then work with people in these other places and not necessarily have to move to those places. And that's great because more creativity in town makes the town more fun. I don't know if you're noticing the same thing, Jay.
A little bit. Online platforms have definitely broadened our spectrum for sure. For one, when that thing that shall not be mentioned came around, I took to the internet and found out that there was this awesome app called Twitch that made music such a worldwide thing so easily. And there's a fan base out there just waiting for you. You just have to, click a few buttons and just take your time and get out there. And yeah, for sure, the internet has definitely blown even the smallest of cities just into a grander scheme with their music scene. So it's awesome. Ottawa's definitely been a part of that for sure.
I think too, like people are like, it used to be that, oh, there's my cat. It used to be that, people would listen to whatever was popular, right? And when the internet rolled around, all of a sudden we could listen to everything from anywhere, and that was exciting. But it's not as exciting anymore. Like, we're all used to being connected. So I feel like people are getting more into stuff that's more hyper local. Like, I could listen to, Singaporean EDM Gregorian chant, like from across the planet, or maybe someone here at home is making that, and I can check that out and maybe go see their show. That's the ideal. That's what I hope people are thinking, but I don't necessarily jump into their brains or anything.
Stay out of my brain, Joel.
Too late. I'm there. I'm right in there.
It's a mess in there.
You don't want to be in there.
It's full of music knowledge and dirty clothes.
Yeah, we noticed that when he gave you a bit of a poke about Genesis earlier.
Yeah. He steps up to the plate when it comes to that. He honestly, his knowledge is wild. Like, he knows like so much stuff. Yeah,
that means absolutely nothing at all.
No, it means a lot. You're doing the podcast for a reason.
Is that why?
Well, it's not your good looks. I'm the looks. I'm the face.
Oh my gosh. I think you're beautiful.
See, beautiful.
That beard, like I can't grow a beard like that, so it's impressive.
Yeah, I can't grow a forehead.
It's all jealous.
Like
He's Dog. He is just afraid of you. That's why he's trying to knock you down a peg. Maybe
there it is.
I think that's what it is.
Jason knows, man. He knows.
He's right.
He knows his psychology.
Yeah.
He knows his psychology.
Psychology.
Yes, sir.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's not English. It's
Now,
psychology, right?
Yeah, it's an ology. Who cares? Now, with you guys with the band now, do you guys have like, because of the internet and the social media and this and that, do you guys like split up your duties as to who does what, or is there just one person that does everything, like posting all your stuff, booking your gigs, stuff like that?
I kind of take the reins on all of it, but it is like my day job too. So like, I have a marketing background and I work at a music organization. So I just sort of know the ins and the outs. And it used to be like herding cats when our band was like 8 people, but now that it's a nice compact 5, it's like pretty easy. And we see each other like once a week ish on Wednesdays. Mostly at Jay's place or my pad. So it becomes fairly easy to just put together, I think it's fine. Plus, in this town, there's only like we're talking about creative sticking around and being around. We also have the added benefit of the art scene not being as big as TO or Montreal, for example. So it's a little easy. I don't want to say easy, but like it's easier to find out who the players are in the media, like where you should be promoting your show. And getting the eyes and ears of those who might be going, and getting them to pay attention. I would say, like, not easy, but probably easier than promoting a show in TO, par example.
Get that?
Why? Because he said it in French?
Yeah.
I speak French. You don't.
That was 2 words. It was real tough to
Par
figure out.
exemple, he's saying Montréal. Il parle français.
He said Montreal quite well. Actually.
Yeah, excellent. Used to work with him. Yeah, I've lived here a long time. So
Same. Yeah. So pick up a little Franglish. Yeah.
I just learned English.
Oh, well, it's very good.
That's my second language. Gibberish is my first.
Oh, my goodness.
Jesus Christ. Pull it together, man. We're trying to pull it. We're trying to put a show together.
And we're not doing a bad job.
No, it's great.
Pretty good.
Thank you.
It's pretty good.
So, like, is there, if you were to go back in like your youth, we're similar in age. Dawg isn't; he's old as hell. But the sorry, the musical genres that you were into as a youth, like, does it come through in your music? Was there something that, like, sort of you put the CD or tape in that really kind of hit right away? Is there something that, you can go back to and think, okay, that's why I want to do music or why I'm a musician?
Ooh, well, you know what? I'm going to toss this to Jay first, because you've had a pretty storied, different career. He's toured Europe a bit in the past.
I always mention this kind of story to people. Like, as you say, when you're young and you're figuring out where your sound is coming from and how to pursue your career as a musician or writing your own stuff, I always find I've found out that it tends to go through 3 different phases. For the particular artist who starts in their teens, you're just happy that you're making noise that sounds like a band or sounds like a song. So you're just happy to play the simplest stuff and just play it as loud as you can. And you're so proud of it. And then as you get along in your playing and your ability to write songs and to play your instruments and stuff, you find a style that really speaks to you. And then you kind of put yourself as that style is it, and anything else is garbage. This is the thing that matters, and everything else I'm not going to pay attention to. And for me, which you can go to a third step, which some musicians do, some musicians really don't. And it isn't a hindrance or it doesn't make it better or worse, but you can take music as everything has its beauty to it, and you can appreciate the simplicity of something and the complexity of something, or how something is diverse or whatever, and accept it all and just try and like take pieces of everything and make everything your inspiration. And right now in my career, because of the paths I've taken, I started out in a pop punk band that kind of sounded like a Green Day ripoff, and then grew up and kind of went into the indie scene with a band, and went into the Celtic feel with another band, and played a lot of old school hard rock songs with another band. And it just made me go like, wow, everything is great. And now that I've grown up and started writing songs on my own a little bit more, I'm taking pieces from just about every source. But I'm in my 40s now, so that depends on where you are in your musical career. So I guess the older you are, the more you decide you can take in. Like I said, some musicians stay in that step 2, where they take, this is the thing that's the be all end all, and they just oversaturate, to so to speak, or over kind of take all the aspects of it and say, I'm going to perfect this, or let's just focus solely on this. And they can make great careers out of it, but they're like, that's like jazz is like their thing. They're going to be jazz, and jazz is the thing, or rock is the thing, or metal is the thing. And that's what makes great metal bands and jazz bands, because like they're just focused on it for so long and they're great at it. I don't know if that answers your question at all.
Excellent answer.
That's very excellent. I don't have anything to add. Fantastic, Jay. Fantastic. Makes me wish we were a metal band now.
Yeah. Hey, there's always time.
There's always time. Mm-hmm.
You're still young.
I suppose that's true.
I went for the metal look, apparently. I didn't realize it, but...
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Just to look at you, yeah. We could probably get that from... if we were to be like that.
Yeah, but we're not, because I'm into metal. I certainly don't look like a metalhead right now.
See, I'm being a lookist now. I'm doing it. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Well, Gus would fit in at a Taylor Swift concert too.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of money.
No,
no kidding. Oh my gosh.
Well, there's 6 dates in Toronto, so if you can't afford
sold
one,
out.
you can afford none. They're all sold out.
All of them gone.
God. Wow.
I read that today.
Similar. I think Garth did the same thing years ago when he came to Ottawa, but it wasn't 6 shows. I think it was like 3 or 4.
It was
and
3.
He did it in a bunch of different places. But yeah, wild. She's very popular.
Yeah, she's very popular.
Good for T-Swizz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Crushing it.
Mm-hmm.
She gets. I was reading. She gets 70% of the merch that she sells, and they sell 2 million a show.
That's all right, I guess.
Yeah, it's wild, wild, man.
Yeah, it's right up there with our merch. It's pretty competitive.
That's just gonna say.
Yeah.
Let's aim for that at our show, Jay. At Irene's, we'll sell $2 million
worth of merch.
You know what? Just $1 million worth of merch. Let's go easy on ourselves.
We're not greedy. Like, come on, guys. Like, one is enough.
Don't stress yourselves
Who needs
out,
more
boys.
than one?
Yeah, one's enough. Yeah. Plus, that's probably like her gas money. So it doesn't really,
Yeah,
For all
her
the
Learjet
18-wheelers
money.
that- yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, she's a great person too. She did give all of her staff, like all of the roadies and everything, $100,000 tip. Like just
each. That's crazy.
You know, and just even though, you know, you look at it and you're like, well, it's not that much money, but it's still like $100,000. Like,
Yeah,
it's a very
nothing
nice,
to sniff
I think
at.
she ended up giving out about $5 million.
Yeah, which is wonderful.
I mean,
she's
yeah. Well, for her,
But-
it's not much probably, but for like a union worker, trades workers, like
Mhm.
just doing the day to day, like those are long days and nights. Yeah, that's really
Mhm.
great.
It's a
I hope,
smart.
She sets an example for others, you know?
Yeah, it's a smart on her part too, right? Like, how do you motivate people? If you're good to them, they're going to go overboard to do stuff for you. It doesn't matter if you give them more money. You treat them with respect and dignity and stuff, and they'll do more than they're actually supposed to. But then you throw in 100K.
Yeah.
T Swift's the lady. I would be like, yep, you want this? You got this. No problem.
Yeah.
She's apparently like nice too, like really
What?
kind. So I think that you would do it anyway, just because she would
what I'm
would
saying.
know your name and she would be like,
Yep.
which is great. I think we should all be like. I mean, she comes from modest background, so to make it that big, I mean, it's great.
Hasn't forgotten who she is. Taylor, keep it
I
up.
love you, man.
You're doing
Send
great.
me some- Send me
Good for you,
some
Taylor.
swag. Send me some
Yeah.
swag.
Big hugs from all of us here, Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come to Ottawa. See
Please.
us. You know.
Yeah,
We'll hook
see,
you up.
Okay, listen, if we get her on the show, we'll
Yeah.
invite you two back and you can
Hey,
be part
thanks.
of it. That fair?
That's
That would be
excellent.
nice.
Mhm.
So are you guys, would you say you're night owls or are you more early birds?
I would call myself a former night owl. I'm out of practice because I haven't been hosting the open mic for a while. Definitely an early bird. I got that from the old man who used to wake us up at like 5 a.m. back in the day to pile firewood. And then it just sort of sticks with you in the DNA, as it were. But man, my man Jay plays a lot more gigs than I do, particularly on Mondays. So what is today? Is it Monday?
Monday.
Oh, yes.
Today
You have a gig
is a
tonight,
Monday.
don't you, Jay?
Yeah, I'm playing playing tonight, and my shift ends at 1 a.m. tonight, which every Monday does. So I'm in bed by no earlier than 2 most nights. Sometimes by 3 a.m. I'm in bed. It doesn't run me ragged. It hasn't yet. Like my hair is still without a gray. Maybe there's a couple hidden in there, but it's shocked me. Maybe I've just found my time of day and I'm just embracing it.
Attaboy. So what do you do on Monday nights? What kind of show are you doing?
So I'm in the cover scene in the Ottawa area, and as a piano player, I play a Monday night residency at the Heart and Crown in the Market, and every Monday night I play up there with a different duo partner. So I rotate a different person every Monday to come up and accompany me, and we literally have I call them open workshops because that's the most apt way of describing it. Because we go up there with literally like a handful of tune ideas and no plan. So I'm just like, do you know this song? No. Here's the general chords of it. Pick it up as we go. And like it's very interactive, and we encourage people to chat with us while they're sitting there enjoying their drinks and their tacos and stuff like that. And it's just like a really chill hangout, and literally sometimes it's just like, oh, we don't really know that song that well, but we could figure it out like in 5 minutes, and we'll have a chat about, oh, I didn't know that chord was in there. And it's like I said, it's a very much like an open workshop, but it has that pub entertainment feel to it, which is great.
Cool. Very cool.
I think that like again, The Thing, I'm bringing up The Thing again, but when it was on, like there was this real fear of like The Thing, like there's this fear of like, oh no, is this going to cut out? Cause like, you know, anybody who worked in nightlife or entertainment was really hurting throughout. And Jay was one of them. I thought of him a lot during it, actually. And then I kept reading articles of like, is this the end of it? Are we just going to DJ iPod or DJ Spotify after this instead? But I'm very pleased to see that the people need people. We need those live people awesome like Jay and his rotating gaggle of guests. I was one, I don't remember when that was, a while back, to actually interact with human beings, which is nice. People need people, you know?
There was an article, I forget what paper it was, but there was an article during The Thing stating top 10 most important jobs at this moment in time. And, there's medical staff and the usual things would be like top. The very dead bottom last, like the lower 10, the bottom of the barrel was musician / artist, whatever. We were absolutely forgotten. We were not viewed as something that was needed at all to make things function in society during the thing. Little did people know that when the thing lifted and people were let out, we were appreciated like 100-fold. I'd never seen a response like that previous to the thing. And I was just like, wow, I guess we're not so bottom of the barrel, are we? We're kind of important.
Yeah.
You're middle of the barrel, Jay. Middle of that
But
barrel.
music
It's the forever journey to the middle, Joel, and I love every moment of it.
Well, for me, I mean, music is everything because I can imagine what creating it is like. But if your mood is in a certain way, if you're happy, you're playing a certain type of music. If you're upset, you're going to play some music. If you're going to do this, you're going to play music. You're going to clean, you're going to do music. I don't know. So music to me is a language that everybody speaks. It's just there's no dialect that's the same. It's just an amazing part of life. I think I agree with you with that. Musicians really, and bartenders and servers and all those people that really got affected, and of course kitchen staff and whatever else. They like lost their jobs. Like people had to really pivot and we're doing takeout or whatever in the restaurant industry. And I used to be in that industry, so I felt for them. But then as a musician, not being able to play gigs, which equals not making any money, and also not having that creative outlet to allow you to play in front of people, which is something I'm sure you both enjoy thoroughly. I think that people realize, like, after being stuck in their homes, or maybe, not allowed to go out to places that they want to enjoy music every night or every other night or whatever. Yeah, I think that once it came back, everybody was super. They needed it. It was like an addiction almost. They really had to get after it, right?
I certainly saw it at when the festivals started coming back. I think, actually the first step was when I saw patios filled again. That was like, oh, but being at my first festival, I believe it was Blues Fest, and just seeing everybody sort of had maybe it was just my own perceptions, but it felt like everybody had the same kind of look of just the feeling of being in a crowd. You're all there gathered to see or hear the same things. Might be the only thing any of us have in common is that we like Rage, but it brings people together. I think that's great. I think it's wonderful.
It is.
I think it made for me, now I'm ranting, but after it made me a little more open to seeing things that I wouldn't have normally seen. Like we were talking before about Jay, you mentioned it. We can tend to think this is it. This is what I'm gonna make, and this is the best there is, and then you can sort of move on from there as a musician. I have, but when it comes to listening to things or going to see shows, in the past, I've definitely been guilty of I don't know if I'd like that, or I don't know if that's my scene, but certainly after hosting the open mic in particular and then being stuck inside for so long, I'm just saying yes to a whole lot more stuff. Things I wouldn't normally have in the past, or genres I don't necessarily listen to. But what I've found every time I go to see a show, even if it's not my scene, I'm having a great time because you feel the vibe of those that are there that do love that scene. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden you're saying oh my goodness, now I'm dancing. Now I see why this is so much fun. I'm going to tell all my friends who whatever, pirate metal. I'm going to tell them all about this because it was crazy bananas fun. It's crazy fun. I think we should all be doing that for local arts anyway. See a poster local hip hop show. I mean, that's not my scene, but I'll tell my man Todd, who's huge into hip hop, hey, go check that out. Insert local artist just needs an audience. Go give it to them,
Yeah.
And they appreciate it because I've gone to a bunch of shows and they're always happy to see people there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, with the thing that we're not talking about, you feel like that has kind of broadened the musical, what's the word I'm looking for, scene in Ottawa, because now everybody is everybody who's got a restaurant has a, come Saturday night, we're going to have these guys playing, where they wouldn't have done that before, 2020. You know what I mean?
If I may, I'll also just put my point in. I think the support local thing is big too, but go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I'll let Jay speak to this as well, because he's got more direct experience with playing in local restaurants, at least more recently. But I'd say so. Like we were talking about pivoting, right? So businesses had to start thinking like, shit, what am I going to do, right? So all of a sudden, ideas that seemed crazy before are not such a crazy idea. Hey, you're right. We could move a couple tables and have Buddy with a guitar over here just plinking along. Or we could invite somebody with some keys, or we could have a barbershop thing in here, because why not? I'm seeing smaller and smaller venues too. Like I live in Chinatown, sort of in between Somerset and Gladstone. I'm seeing like bars that don't have a stage, but they're offering up these sort of like entertainment nights, whether it be karaoke or like a drag show or like insert like just musician playing here. Something's going on. And the vibe I see, regardless of what it is they're performing, is that these are local folks in your community, neighbors, family, colleagues, friends. They're creating something. Come check it out. Yeah, that's my thoughts. But like, Jay, when you started getting the calls again following the thing, were you catching that vibe as well?
It was a little more subdued. Certain bars were keen to get back into the swing of things, but they were the ones who were heavy into it to begin with. As the thing subsided and people were more and more out in the open and in the public, then the outside, the smaller restaurants and venues and such were going, okay, now I think it's worth it, because it's starting to come in and we're rolling a little bit smoother now. And I was starting to find out that more things were kind of starting at that point. So it was a slow build, but it was a build, which was great. It did build to a bigger thing than it used to be. And in my experience anyway, things I'm finding out more, like, aside from like the restaurants and the venues, like breweries were opening up to the idea of having entertainment. Like I'm in the suburbs, I'm out in Orleans, and like a couple places over here, like Stray Dog Brewery in Orleans started having entertainment, stuff like that. Like places you wouldn't think would have entertainment, like Joel said, were just open to the idea of it because they thought it would be just a wonderful way to help out local musicians get out there, which is awesome.
That is awesome. Speaking of, shout out to you guys too. You're supporting local music by doing what you do, right? I mean, you don't have to be doing this promotion, local media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So good on you. Nice work.
Thanks, Joel.
Good job, Gus.
Good job, guys.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, Dog's a big part of this too. I mean, come on. You got first top billing, man.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Crushing it, man.
I'm crushing it.
You're not good at taking compliments.
No.
Yeah.
Don't like them.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Dog means thank you.
I do.
And Jason, thank you.
I think
we still have a bit of time left, guys.
Well, you're talking about the breweries, though, and I agree. I think that Overflow was built with the idea of having bands.
Yes,
because they have a huge
great place.
Stage.
Yeah,
I've seen a couple of shows there. It's an amazing venue. Stray Dog also has supported a few of the guys that we've talked to.
What's the one off Walkley?
That's the one.
Yeah,
that's Overflow.
That's Overflow.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah,
such a great venue.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's true. The breweries are, even Tooth and Nail has stuff going on in Hintonburg, and it's great to see. I mean, it's smart, really. Everybody everybody loves live music. I mean, and people who like beer, they like to watch live music. It's just the way it is.
And
it's been ongoing for centuries.
Yeah. Smart marketing too, right? Like with help getting together with bands and naming beers after them and stuff.
Oh yeah,
or after their songs. And
We're trying to get.
We're working on.
Yeah.
Gus got it in his head, and I saw all these posts on Instagram of all these different breweries that he reached out to talk about getting a non-alcoholic beverage named after us, and they're like, "Well, we don't do that." But however,
we got one. One said yes.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so one's interested. We're gonna see what happens because Dog and I don't drink. I'm in recovery. Dog isn't, but he's just he doesn't drink. And the thing is like, so I was thinking we talked I'm very much a marketing guy, like similar to you, Joel. I self-promote my own business on the other side of it. And then I also, as soon as I hear something, Dawg gets like, he's like, oh fuck, he heard it again. Like, and it's like all of a sudden, we needed bigger stickers, and I ordered. We had new stickers within 5 days. And, I'm just that guy. And even like little things like having our own non-alcoholic beer available in Ottawa would be fucking awesome. I think it'd be hilarious. The Dawg and Gus, Buzz Free, I called it. I think. What do we call it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Buzz Free.
Buzz Free Dawg and Gus. I already got all the things. And if nobody's going to do it, I'm going to open my own fucking brewery.
So good.
Yeah, you don't have enough on your plate already.
No, I know. Twin girls, business, podcast,
a partner, a podcast.
Oh, a partner. I mean,
don't.
I'm just kidding. Gentlemen, what's your biggest pet peeve? It could be music related, or it could be life related.
Oh my gosh.
Are we going to get deep, or are we going to get like, I don't like
go
it when
deep,
people cut
baby.
me off
Go
on the
deep.
highway?
Jason, yeah, get in there, get after it. Whatever you want to say live. I mean, there's millions of viewers of this show, so go ahead.
Millions of viewers.
Millions.
At least 100.
People of this podcast, listen and listen good.
Yes, Jason. Yes.
I thought you were going to say that that's your pet peeve. People who listen to this.
People who, the millions and
Dawg and
millions
Gus.
listening to this podcast.
This is it, Dawg. This is our last show.
That's it.
Now, I'd say jerks. My tolerance for them were, much lower back in my corporate days, or maybe it was higher. Like I could just deal with jerks more because I had to for work. But now people that just treat each other with lack of respect, or just poo on things that other people are doing. Let's focus it on the art scene. Like for years and years, again, lived here my whole life. Ottawa sucks this, Ottawa sucks that, and it's like, yeah, we're not as big. Like we're like 3 times less the population of our couple of other neighbors. There's more things to do there, but there's still a lot of creative stuff in this scene. In particular, in the past 5-10, even more so, going back to our conversation earlier about the internet and blah, blah, blah. So I don't get all my hackles up when people are hating on the city necessarily, because, municipal politics, et cetera, and infrastructure, blah, blah. But if it's of the creative scene, there's nothing to do. There's always something to do, and there's a lot of creative people here. I'll shout out Mike, actually, like the ones who put on the CMAs, in addition to showcasing how much awesome talent there is. And you guys saw it at the Capital Music Awards 4th edition. They're also doing amazing things like outdoor shows, which goes back to our other convo about shows in weird places. Like, hey, yeah, let's set up in the park. It's summertime. Let's have a free show for fam jams, and let's do it. I'm
actually going to be part of one of those outdoor shows in September, which is fantastic.
Oh, that's right. So you were rained out.
Good on, oh Mike. Yeah, we were supposed to be in August, and we got rained out. So rain dates somewhere late September. We're still in the talks about it. But Mike putting on some awesome outdoor shows.
They're awesome. They're awesome. Actually, our show, our recent interview with Melanie, who's running it, is running Mike, is actually went up today. So there's
shout out.
This is going to come out on the 28th prior to your show, which is what we want to promote.
Perfect.
But yeah, no, she's an amazing person, and I thought that even obviously meeting you, Joel, and Kareem, and all the Mike staff. Emily, I believe, is her name too, right? There's another, so they were amazing, and we were so happy to be a part of that show. And yes, the amount of talent that we've interviewed that won that night, or even were nominated, and we didn't realize, how deep it goes, how many amazing artists. And I agree with you in the fact that I'm an Ottawa guy too. I lived in Toronto. I lived in Montreal briefly. I've lived in Europe as well, but Ottawa is my home, and anybody that talks shit about it, I always get offended. There's nothing to do, and it's like, well, there's actually 100 things to do. You just don't know what to do. Some of the best photographers in Canada are actually from Ottawa. That's that's an art form, right? So there's so many great photographers who put on these gallery shows. Go check them out. Like, there's so much to do, but I think the issue is people that do say that don't have culture. They don't have they're more worried about like what's, there's not, you can't go to this type of restaurant or this place or da 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 da. And it's like, well,
Can't even
okay,
check out a museum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, why
yeah,
not?
like that's it. Like we have so many museums per capita. I think there's more in Ottawa than anywhere in Canada. So, yeah, I get the pet peeve for sure. It's a good. That went on for a while.
You did, yeah. We need to hear Jason's pet peeve.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jay. Well, he pointed at it. Said, I think he was like this. He's like,
Those two.
You.
yeah. He was like, no, I think it was you. See, he's pointing.
Damn it.
Yeah.
It's more playing on Joel's disapproval of jerks, and I disapprove of them as well. But everybody's got peeves, like you say. Everybody's got their gripes and what they don't get and what makes them angry. But it's my pet peeve, I guess, would be people's lack of acceptance of the anger, and just kind of it's okay to be angry and upset and, not understand something or not get it or look at it with kind of a crooked eye and be like, oh, that's so strange. But like, that's as far as it should go. It shouldn't be something you point a finger at and something you'd be like, oh, well, if you like that and I don't get it, then there's something wrong and I have to make a point of saying something. That's when you go further than how it makes you feel. It's what you do about it that is really important. And a lot of people feel the need to, outwardly make it a negative thing for everybody else or for the person that they don't understand or whatever. And that's the thing that irks me the most is people just can't accept that, what, it's okay that I don't like this. I don't have to make it a spectacle. I don't have to beat someone down for it. I just have to realize, hey, that thing is not for me or whatever. But as Joel was mentioning earlier about even styles of music that we go out, like concerts and stuff, like you said, you're not down for a hip hop show, but when you're there and everybody is bouncing up and down and there's smiles on faces and they're just having the greatest time, how could you not look at that and see that as a positive when
Agreed.
You're not part of that scene and just outwardly look at it and say like, you know what, they're having a great time. So good for them. Like, I don't like it. I'm just going to let them do their thing. I'm going to go over here. Like, just let it be. But a lot of people feel that it's something that they have to, spit on, so to speak. Yeah.
Well, I think that the issue is people have they're so self-absorbed that, and I hate to say it, again, that thing we talk about might have brought out the worst in some people too, but,
it brought them out in groups.
I think that people that, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fighting about politics, religion, those things never really happened before. Like you had your political view and you had your religious view and that was it. You kept that in your own house and you kept that to yourself. And I think it's included in all these other, it stems not just from that, but having your opinion on something. We went to different shows over the last couple of years, like seeing Rammstein and then going and, I love hip hop. So I was seeing hip hop shows and you like you said, Jason, the vibe you get, the energy you get, that positive, loving, wonderful energy. There's just nothing like it. Like, it's like such a nice experience. So why would you ruin it by having this view that is, you're not going to skew from? And yeah, I think that's a great answer, Jason. Thank you.
I took my kids, I have two boys and, they both love metal. They're both big metal heads. And, there's a restaurant downtown called The Coven. And it's like, metal meets barbecue. It's awesome. And, awesome. So I took them there as a treat. They didn't know it existed.
That's a perfect way to say it.
I took them there as like, hey, here's a place that I think you'd like. And they like fell in love with it. And there was a group of guys who were sitting at the next table who were actually a touring metal band. They were in town just getting a bite to eat. And the whole time,
cool.
My boys were like air guitaring to whatever was on the radio at the time and like chatting it up with the guys. And they were getting loud and like, singing song lyrics at the top of their lungs. And I'm kind of going like, all right, I feel a bit uncomfortable because it's not my thing that I'm excited about, but I feel I can't like give to it, but like all I could do was sit there and smirk because I'm just like, look at how like ecstatic everybody is just being here. And like, even my boys are a part of this. I'm like, that's just nice.
It's awesome. So awesome.
I get that a lot when you go to the shows and you got, like say Brad's shows when he puts on like 5 different bands. But you've got other bands that show up to see these shows because they know guys in the other bands and they just want to be there to support.
That's it.
And it's so much fun to sit there and you stand there with guys we've had on this show and you just enjoy the show. And you're like, wow, that guy can fucking play. Wow. And it's like, wow, you know, or it's just the first time you're seeing them. Like when the first time I saw Beyond Driven was like, these guys are great.
Well, even Taming Sorry.
And they're so,
I feel like
they're
Taming
great, yeah.
Sorry is going to be a big band. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I've met them. We obviously interviewed them. Their music's amazing. They're the nicest guys you've ever met, but they're so talented. Like, they're just like, they're a tight band. As long as they stay together and stay focused, I think they could just be as big as they want to be, which is wonderful, you know, and their love for music. And like Dawg was saying, all of the support that they give to each other as a community. And I'm sure you guys do the same thing, and people come out to your shows, Jason. And of course, people are going to go see you guys all together. But it's so great. I love the community that we're part of now. And we never thought of ourselves as being a part of the community, but we are now because we've interviewed all these people, and it's you know, we want to promote you guys. We want to promote Ottawa music, Ottawa artists, and that's our credo. Like, that's our kind of our mission statement. And it's so great to have amazing artists like yourselves. Too bad you're both like really hard to talk to, but other than that, I mean, awesome. You know,
it's our bane of existence, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I've got a great question actually. So seeing how the world is wild right now and it's challenging at times, how do you see it in the next 5 years? Like maybe even in the music industry, or what, like, you know, obviously I have kids, you have kids, Jason. So like, what are our kids going to see in music? Do you think it's going to be like this AI? Do you think there's going to be some challenges with that? But for me, I think everybody always goes back to the people. And that's kind of what you were saying earlier, Joel. And would you agree, or do you think do you have an opinion?
Like, well, AI, like I think we're going to see AI music for sure. But you know, like I think it's just going to be part of the wider landscape, right? Like so many genres just merge together, you know, now. Like the kids are like very interested in anything they can get their hands upon. Right. So I work, my day job's at Folk Music Ontario. So I work with folkies, right? And it's a lot of acoustic, a lot of older style stuff, a lot of traditional music. And there's a lot of young people digging it. It's not going away. But also brand new genres are still being invented. Plus, I think it's cool, maybe I'm ranting a bit, but like, I think it's cool how people listen to music in other languages now because they just like the bop. You know, like think about how big K-pop is, for example, right? Or hip hop. Like you can get hip hop in literally any language now, right? And often I'll hear a hip hop track in like Spanish or like Korean, and it just has or French, and it has this completely different vibe to it, just because the sounds that the language makes, right? So it becomes more fun. Anyway, that's a bit of a rant. I don't know what you think, Jay.
That's not a rant. That's good.
I would say, I guess how the music is invented is going in a different route, because you're seeing more things like loop artists for one thing. Is I'm seeing more and more of that become a little bit more prevalent in the scene. I actually went to see it was Lawrence Gowan at the Bronson Center, and there was a gentleman that opened up for him, and I wish I knew his name because he was brilliant. But it was just him and a looper with a guitar, and he played an entire set just building tracks from scratch, and just made this wall of sound that sounded absolutely brilliant. And it was I was taken aback by it, but like that shouldn't work, but it does. Because it's like, because it was so new, it was just like, I've seen it on many streaming platforms where people tend to do that because they like watching people build, like they like the process of the song. So the loop artist could give them, okay, well, here's the riff, and here's a chord that works with it, and then here's the drum beat, and so on. But he was doing that in front of an audience, and the audience just, I guess, because it had been online, it's like, we want to see it live. We want to like actually be there and experience it while he's standing there or she's standing there. And I think that's a neat thing. For me, it's a positive.
I was there for that show. That was a great show.
Oh, nice.
No, I don't remember the name, but I think it was. I have it somewhere, but it was really good. Like you said, very interesting. Like I've never seen anything like that before. And it was really cool the way that they were, I think he's a they, them.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it was amazing. It was just kind of fit right in with Gowan, and Gowan was Gowan.
Yeah. Well,
Gowan is Gowan.
He's coming back.
Gowan.
Gowan's
Gowan's
cool.
He's no
back?
Taylor. He's no
back to the
Taylor
Bronson
Swift.
Center.
He's a Gowan.
No, he's not.
That's
He's
true.
not Taylor Swift for sure.
Strange animal.
No, he's coming back to the Bronson Center in a couple of months.
Oh,
Oh,
they're coming
wow.
back.
Nice.
Yeah, really?
Mhm.
Does he live near here?
I think he's from Montreal.
Yeah, so maybe that's why.
Well, when he's not touring with Styx, though, right? Because he also tours with Styx.
Well, didn't David Wilcox only play places that he could drive to?
Yeah, that was the rumor.
Yeah.
And now his eyesight is so bad that he probably doesn't drive anymore.
Oh, that's too bad. I bet he can still rip it apart, though.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. There's no.
I remember a
problem
story.
with that.
Remember a story my dad told me. When he was working, he was doing a job, putting in some phone cable or something out in like Picton or something like that, like little small town. And he had the night off, so he like ducked into this little tiny hole in the wall, and he saw this little amp and a little acoustic, whatever that was on this little stage there. He's like, "Oh, there's going to be somebody playing tonight." And then the MC comes on and goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, David Wilcox." He's like, "Oh, that's unexpected."
Wah!
It was pretty cool,
Intimate
just in this
show.
little tiny bar, just
David
Wilcox.
Like it's just when he'd go off, right? And he would like walk. I remember watching him once. So he was, there was a woman with really large breasts in the front, right in front of
That's
the stage.
actually a great band name. You get away
Yeah.
with having that as a band name.
Yeah, of course.
Women with
You can do
really
whatever you
large
want.
breasts.
That'd be my other podcast. And he was like, like going across the stage, and then he just did like a motorboat and like.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he's just such a good. I love watching him. I saw him at the Black Sheep a few times, and yeah, he was just special. He's like a good Canadian band to watch, So very
Fantastic
talented
vocal.
too.
Very
yeah,
talented.
very talented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheap, I heard
Okay,
there's a
dog. You
place
asked the question,
that thing
but
that-
yeah,
ahead.
exactly. Yeah.
What thing?
Our signature question that we ask every person that we've ever had on the show for about 65 to 75 shows. I don't know how many shows you have up.
How you doing? Is that the one?
can we be show
that's
69? Are we show 69?
You might be.
Sure.
You old dirtbag. You.
Sure you are.
I love it. Ish. You're 69-ish.
69
Ish.
Yeah, it's
Dog,
optional.
please-
69
Please
optional.
ask
Please ask. I'm going to ask the question if you
these
stop talking.
gentlemen. Gentlemen, we ask a question every show.
Gentlemen, 80s or 90s, if you had to choose.
For
Music.
music?
Yes. Not for fashion. We're not going to go there.
Who's his 90s? 90s.
90s
If you're
would
thinking
win
about it,
fashion.
Joel, I would automatically go 80s because for some strange reason, I was a teenager in the 90s. Like those were my formative years, were the 90s.
Same.
And for
Yeah.
some reason, the music at the time, like now I can look back on it and accept it and like enjoy it. At the time, it just was not for me. And I went reverse. I went 70s, 60s, and I was falling in love with that. But when I was a kid, the 80s were just perfect. So 80s for me.
I'd have to agree wholeheartedly with Jay. Like, lots of great tunes in the 90s, and I love it now. But at the time, I was like too cool for Nirvana, Soundgarden, like the whole alternative scene. Too cool for it. I was definitely listening to 70s and 80s stuff and some 60s. Yeah,
Cool for Soundgarden.
yeah. Except for like the
Come on,
bops you
Chris
hear in the
Cornell
dance.
is like,
Or-
so Chris Cornell's not like one of the coolest dudes.
Or maybe not so much cool, but just not being a follower.
Well, listen.
I think that's
who
what
here
he meant.
listened to Tupac? Probably none of you. So
Not back
Oh
when
well,
you
yeah.
did.
Now, like back, yeah, like now, it's like this nostalgic, like there it is.
it was a whisper
But-
of time. He was only 23 when he died, so it was like
Serious.
very, yeah. It was just like a very short period of time, but influential. He's like the Bob Marley of hip hop, is what I call Tupac, because he died young. Bob Marley put out a ton of great reggae albums, but he died really reasonably young too. I think he was only 40, 41. So yeah, no,
Big
that's
impact.
I get it, guys. It's okay. I'm a 90s guy. Traditionally, one of two guests pick the 90s, but
Dun, dun,
to
dun.
have both of you pick the 80s is interesting for sure.
Maybe that's why we get along, Jay. Oh, that's
Could be.
nice.
Yeah,
Could be.
there you go.
Why we
Tom.
make beautiful music together.
But that's the
All
thing.
right.
It's not.
See?
You don't have to find the similarities to get along. As my point before was, just because it's not your thing doesn't mean you can't give a guy a hug and say, you know what, I still dig you. You're
That's
great.
it.
Of
Great.
course, you don't want to be everybody the same. You want it to be kind of. You want to be questioned. You want to have curious conversations. You want to, I would imagine being a band and you have different views of a certain thing, and then you kind of chat about it and figure it out, right? I think that's so wonderful. Like, it's so important to be different.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because I'm going to segue right into our band, Shameless. But the Magic Machine's kind of like this conglomeration of that. I was in a musical theater production back in 2016 called My Fair Zombie, which is exactly what it sounds like. And when I was singing in it, I realized I didn't like acting. I wished I was in the band. But I loved the theater aspect of how organized everything was and how silly the songs were, and the choruses in particular, like the choral sounds. And that's where I met two of our band members, Jay and I's very good friends, Robin and Zoe. They can harmonize like nobody's business, and they know the stage like nobody's business because they got all this theater background. And then I met Jay because we did another musical theater production. And what's funny is, like, so I was the band leader for that, and I wrote all the songs. And I asked Jay, "Hey, could you play keys?" And he did. And it wasn't until like we were almost done, like I think it was like third or fourth show of the run, when Jay reveals that the keys aren't even his first instrument, it's the drums, because you're like some kind of like superstar, Anyway, so the band itself has sort of come together with this weird mix of the theater folk plus the touring musician person like Jay, and I have my own, like, played in cover bands around town, and my wife's also in the band, and they're a visual artist, so brings in that type of thing to the band, and that's more experiences makes more fun, and you all learn from one another, and all this, and sometimes it really comes together in a real harmonious goodness, and that's what we're all about. Shameless. That was my shameless self promo. There it was.
Go see them. Go see them on September 2nd
At
Irene's Pub. Mm-hmm. The Magic.
Anybody opening for you?
Yeah, we got Almir Jules.
He's horrible.
Do you guys know Almir?
Yeah, we had him on, and he brought his guitar and played for us, and just
Almir is fucking amazing. Love him.
Nice guy.
Voice of an angel. Mm-hmm. I first saw him actually down at the Live in Elgin open mic, and he gets up there and like breaks every heart in the room, right, with his voice and his demeanor, and it's just, anyway, I love Almir.
Yeah, super charming. Like, he's like you said, he just was a genuinely nice person, and when he played for us, he was wonderful. He was amazing, and he introduced me to a Jackson 5 song, because I was a huge, like, Michael Jackson fan in the 80s. Like, by the way, I like the 80s too, guys. But like, and he was talking to me. It was off camera, and we were starting to chat about Michael Jackson. He's like, "Oh, you got to check out this song by Jackson 5." And I said, "I've never heard this song." And then he plays it, and it's like, "Fuck, this is amazing." And he just was such a warm character and had time for you. And he's a great opener for sure. He'll have that room warm for you guys, I'm sure.
Well, and I'm glad he agreed to do it, because I think everybody needs to hear him. So
yeah, he's fucking awesome. Yeah,
he's awesome.
You guys are awesome. You guys are fucking awesome too. You sweet bastards. Listen, thank you so much for some time today. Sweet bastards. We'll follow along. I'm sure. I would imagine Dawg will probably go see your show.
I will certainly try.
Yeah, I'm going to try also. I have a challenge with the young twins, but to go out at night is challenging. But certainly we'll be following you, following along and keeping in touch. And thank you again for reaching out. And great meeting you at the CMAs, and Jason, awesome meeting you as well. And keep going, guys. Keep crushing it.
We are.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely come see us the 2nd, and go see Jay every Monday at the Heart and Crown downtown.
That's right. Heart and Crown, baby. Well, good time there.
Heart and crown and around, as one of our esteemed musicians once said.
Heart and crowned and around.
Nice. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Merci.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.